We just witnessed a tempestuous battle between the Stockton gangster Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, and now it's time to see what the fighters and their teams have to say about this.
Sean, can you give us your thoughts on the fight?
Man, that was crazy.
Hey man, what you gotta say from Rob over there at the Sphere, man?
Rob sucks. Yeah.
Okay, I think you beat Haney, but Tank I think is too much, bro.
Tank's like this tall, buddy.
But he's good, 30 no
He is
play
good,
knockouts.
yeah.
Tell us that, Jake.
Nah, but he's the
He can crack.
king.
He can crack.
You can't crack.
What do you think about Ryan Garcia's rant?
Drugs.
Did he ask you what you think of Ryan Garcia's rap?
Rant.
Rant.
Oh, rant.
This guy.
What's up, Mike?
Kill shot. Hey, right here. Kill shot. Hey, your boy did his thing. Your boy did his thing. Nate.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. Turning up. Nate
Nate did his thing, man. Hey, that be followed with.
Whatever judge scored that a draw, he shivved a few times for the night. That was insane, bro. I had that shit 9-1, 9 rounds to 1.
Yeah.
George did his thing, he hung in there, whatever. Fuck George anyways, but you know what I mean? He did his thing, whatever, but fuck him anyways. Fuck him and his whole bullshit. But I want him next. Let's go.
What do you want to see from Nate next? Jake
I
Paul
don't know.
rematch? What's up?
The thing with Nate, man, if I'm gonna be honest myself, my own opinion, you know, he's gonna do whatever the fuck he wants to do. He's the boss, man. He's the shit, bro. I mean, look at what he's doing right now. He sold this whole fucking arena.
McGregor put up $500K.
I want to see McGregor.
McGregor 3, yeah. That'll sell massive, bro.
UFC.
That's the biggest thing, yeah, for sure.
In the Sphere in Vegas.
My main mission,
my
main objective, like how I've been, is to be the best fighter in the world. Back to get UFC title. You and Jorge. Leon Edwards, Jake Paul, and anybody that fucks, you're dead. Hey, congratulations.
The heart's still beating.
He could have even been 6 or 7, but he was a young kid. From the beginning, I've seen a lot of talent in this kid. He was working with his father and so many different other trainers around the gym. Very, very talented kid, and I'm happy that I'm able to be a part of his life and take him to that next level.
But what about Carmel Rich stood out to you? Like his movement, his dedication, his commitment, like with his father. Like, what did you see when you saw him in the gym that made him stand out to you?
Hunger. He wanted to be great. He's boxed so many different champions throughout the years, even as an amateur. I just want the best for him, but so much talent.
When you talk about hunger, it's hard.
Before we jump further into the more exciting reactions of the biggest stars of boxing, and in this particular case, the UFC, let's rewind a bit. We are taking a closer look at the biggest controversies relating to this match and some of the biggest predictions about this showdown. Although the whole fight card performed well, the clashes between Garcia Vargas and Nate Diaz vs. Jorge Masvidal were the cherry on top. Nate Diaz vs. Jorge Masvidal was the most controversial and one of the biggest fights of this year.
You have any last words for Masvidal before you meet in the center of the ring tomorrow? Last words.
Yo, this whole shit's cap. I already waited this morning.
There you go.
An old beef, a violent brawl, and two of the most skilled fighters in the entire world. This fight had everything a fan could dream of. Fan Mio managed to create an amazing build-up, which was followed by an equally amazing performance in the ring. Jorge had predicted in the weigh-in that would keep it simple and do what he has been doing for so long.
And just thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for every moment, everything, you know. I'm gonna put an ass whooping tomorrow, whether you guys like that or not. I'm here to do my job, man. I'm gonna kill somebody tomorrow, man. So let's go. All the shit talking is over. Now we get to fight. And either my camp was the right one or his camp was the right one, but we get to find out tomorrow. So see y'all there.
Their weigh-in was made interesting because both fighters agreed to face off and did it like good boys. Jorge was slightly low at 175.2, and Nate came at 175.6 pounds. The only surprise of that night was Sean Garcia, who came well above 3 pounds against Amado Vargas. Jorge was looking a bit chubby, but somehow made it.
175.6.
Nate Diaz weighs in at 175.6 pounds. Give me that bitch. Give me that fight. Give me that bitch.
Both fighters were annoyed by the media and the entire buildup campaign, but came in a light mood on the fight. Sean O'Malley, the bantamweight UFC superstar, did a great job in the commentary panel, along with veteran play-by-play man Mauro Ranallo and former boxing champion Sean Porter. The Honda Center of Anaheim hosted a great night of boxing. The only bad memory fans will have about this fight will be the disappointing behavior of Nate Diaz and Jorge in the pre-match media events. They were very impolite and seemed to have no interest in promoting this fight or increasing its hype. Let's see some moments of their most cringe moments.
I just want to fight her, you know, kind of weight and shit, you know. I just want to fight. This is cool. I know we gotta sell pay-per-views. I just want to fucking fight her and knock this motherfucker dead, bro. Obviously, I didn't like what happened at the press conference, but that's in the rearview mirror. That's my emotions are not going to take place on Saturday. You know, what's going to take place on Saturday is the 6 months of isolation, hard work in a boxing camp with boxers, learning the craft from the ground up, and nothing else. You know, whatever took place on that day doesn't really change the outcome of what's going to happen in the fight.
That's not it. His opponent Nate's reaction to MC's questions was even worse. At one moment, when he was asked about how much this fight was different from the previous fights, he made the whole crowd a laughing stock.
It's slightly different. Hey, what are your expectations for Saturday's fight? I came here to win. How are you going to do that? How the fuck would you do it?
It was seen throughout the fight that Masvidal was taking it personally. The ghosts from their previous brawl were still haunting. He spoke multiple times about this incident and his desire to settle this feud in the ring. At one promotional event, he saw the guy who attacked his trainer. He hoped to cross paths with this guy someday and released his frustration.
Yeah, see, I thought that was just like some fat lesbian. So when I was grabbing him, swinging him around like, yo, come watch these dishes, yo, come do this, I didn't hit him because I thought it was just like a fucking nobody, you know. Now I found out, oh, you're a pro fighter attacking my coach with another homeboy of yours. Cool beans, bro. You know, that pussy's gonna have to see me or my boys at some point.
Killshot, the infamous Nate Diaz crew member, was also present there. He was the guy who initiated the assault on Masvidal's trainer, Jorge Capitillo. He didn't hesitate in blaming Masvidal's coach for this entire tussle. He also justified his act and mocked Masvidal's crew as soft men before calling him out to fight anytime.
I'll tell him anywhere. I'll fight him right now. Where's he at, Doug? You know, he's a bitch. He's soft. You see what happened? He's pulling hair. I'm socking him in the face. What's he doing? You know, he's running. He ran and pointed at me and told to get me. It's hoe shit, bro. Where do they do that at? That's some Florida shit?
Jorge Masvidal has sworn on that day that he will avenge his coach by knocking out Nate and settling this score. Actually, this heat is not new between these two fighters. They had bad blood since their fight for UFC Baddest BMF title where Nate was on the receiving end. Masvidal won the belt, but it was a controversial decision. To this day, Nate Diaz doesn't think that his defeat in that championship via doctor stoppage was fair. He thinks that the doctor made a false call and stated right after the fight. Speaking of Nate, another controversy is created by his crew members. It is no wonder that Nate Diaz has bad taste in handling the press. At one media event, he passed some serious threats to a boxing steamer N3 On for his misbehaving. It started calmly in a question-answer session, where N3 On asked Nate about his boxing favorites. The former MMA legend mentioned some top boxers of his era like his brother Nick Diaz, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., Oscar De La Hoya, Fernando Vargas, and Ricardo Mayorga. Next, he got fired up when N3 On asked, is he going to retire after losing to Masvidal for the second time? Nate did not respond to Gamebred's rants and MC's provocative question, but this behavior by the famous YouTuber fired him up. He made fun of his clothing and threatened him to meet outside, saying, this little kids like this little mother is like, changing of the times. You need your little whooped. I got little girls over here that will you up. Although the match between Nate Diaz and Masvidal is finished, the YouTuber/streamer is still scared. As he left the press conference, two guys from Stockton Slugger's camp started following him. He had no option except to run from there to save his life.
I'm sorry. What is going on, bro? I can't even play this clip, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry!
N3 On went live on stream as soon as he reached home. He apologized to Nate Diaz regarding questions.
I don't give a what the chat says. You guys can make fun of me, whatever. I don't give a shit. I genuinely want to apologize to to Nate and his team and everyone around him for what I did, because I didn't really realize what I was doing. I didn't realize the seriousness of it, and I honestly don't really think before I do. And I made a really dumb decision. You guys can say all you want to go by the chat. It's for them to see. And I'm genuinely sorry. I really am. I really am sorry.
N3 On gave Nate his word that he had learned his lesson. Without any delay, he added, I didn't realize when I was doing it that it's actually a disrespectful remark to say to someone, and I didn't think much of it. I now realized how end up, that was to say, and I do really want to apologize for what I did. Honestly, that was the scariest moment of my life. Dylan Dennis, the most controversial figure in martial arts and boxing, has once again found a way to be relevant. He has mocked both Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal for rematching in boxing instead of UFC. He thinks that both fighters chose this path because boxing has more money, and it is relatively easier than MMA for sure. He added, I think it's bull's. It's a money grab just like the Tyson and Jake Paul, but it is what it is. You know, fair play to them, I guess. You know, they should be fighting MMA. Why are they fighting in boxing? You know, because the UFC doesn't want to put it on, you know. Colby Covington, the friend turned rival of Jorge Masvidal, also thinks the same. He referred to both fighters as washed up dudes. His beef with Masvidal is not hidden, but we did not think he had a problem with Nate Diaz as well. In the latest interview with Submission Radio, he concluded, I mean, just two complete washouts of the UFC that are, you know, 40 years old. They should be in retirement homes. They're sloppy old dudes that can't perform in the UFC anymore at this high elite level like me at the top of the division. They're both got 10 seconds of fame in the UFC and are living off these fights from 10 years ago. Michael Bisping has denied these allegations in one of his videos on his YouTube channel. He doesn't believe that the fight is rigged or they are playing only for a fat paycheck. He said recently while picking Jorge Masvidal as his favorite over Nate Diaz. Now, in terms of who I think wins this fight, I have already alluded to it. I've got Masvidal winning this one. He won the first one. The first one was kind of a beatdown. He also commented on the controversial doctor stoppage. He thinks that the ring doctor was just in his decision because Nate was having trouble moving and was continuously receiving Masvidal's brutal blows. Furthermore, he added, yeah, it was stopped with a cut, but the cut came because Masvidal was all over him. He was faster, he was more powerful, and he was more technical, and I do not see much changing. Now, in terms of who I think wins this fight, I have already alluded to it. I've got Masvidal winning this one. Jorge also appeared in a recent episode on Michael Bisping's YouTube channel, where he showed his plans for his future. Talking to the former English mixed martial arts legend, he was presented with a few names such as Darren Till, Mike Perry, and Jake Paul as his potential opponents. He responded that his team was planning to cross his paths against even bigger fish. He said, I am thinking of Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. That's what I am thinking. That is what my people are thinking. That is what we're trying to do. But he showed his clear intent that he would fight against anybody as long as the check was big and fat. He considered the fighters mentioned by Bisping as interesting matchups and called out, and those matches you mentioned right there, great fighters, so I would not mind those matches as well. I have always liked Mike Perry's style since he got into the UFC. He is a hell of a dog, so that would be a huge fight to make in the future. The fight is over, and Nate hasn't considered retirement. He still has some big fights left in his career. He disclosed this in a recent episode of Demetrius Johnson's YouTube channel. One of these fights will be against his old nemesis, Conor Notorious's McGregor. He included,
he's hurt. It's like, bro, he lost his last fight because he went in there like a G and he was hurt. Had to himself up. That being a part of it, he shouldn't have showed up, though. When people were like, well, I'm like, why don't you shut up and sit down? Got a real injury. You know what I'm saying?
Are we getting that trilogy, Nate?
I was up in that fight. Yeah, we're fighting a third time. Second one wasn't fair. Hell yeah. And I still think I won, too. I'm fighting all these motherfuckers again. You know, you brand new.
As the rivalry is settled in the ring in a manly way, let's come back to Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. So, what do you say about this showdown? Did it live up to the hype? Tell us in the comments and don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us push further.